Welcome to Black History Heroes. Today, we're uncovering the extraordinary story of William Reuben Pettiford, a banker, a visionary leader, and a devoted man of faith. Often seen as Birmingham's Black Knight, Pettiford was a relentless advocate for economic empowerment in the African American community. He refused to accept defeat, building institutions that changed lives while staying true to his mission of service. But beyond his public achievements, his personal life was marked by deep sorrow, becoming a widower not once, but twice. Let's explore the legacy of this remarkable man. Before we dive into today's story, I want to take a pause to say I'm glad that you could join me and to do a little journal exercise together. It's entirely up to you if you want to grab a pen and paper, but if not, feel free to simply relax and reflect. That's what I'll be doing. Here's what I want you to do. Think of 3 things that happened to you today. Whether big or small, imagine each one as something you can place into a cubbyhole, a small space in your mind where we can store things both good and bad. So the first thing, what's something positive? Maybe someone gave you a compliment at school, or you just had a moment of encouragement. Drop it into the first cubbyhole. On the other hand, if something didn't sit well with you, whether it was an uncomfortable conversation or just a tough moment you experienced, place that into the next cubby. And if today wasn't too eventful, that's okay too. It's all about taking a moment to acknowledge the day. Okay, so once you place those 3 things into your mental cubbies, let's move forward and continue with today's Black History Hero, and God bless. Born in Granville County, North Carolina, on January 20th, 1847, William Pettiford was the son of free black landowners, William and Matilda Pettiford. The family owned a farm spanning several acres, where young William spent his early years. His parents, valuing education, taught him to read, sparking a lifelong love of learning, all before the age of 10. And around this time, William's parents sold their farm for a significant profit. And with their newfound wealth, the family relocated to Pearson County, North Carolina, seeking new opportunities. Fun fact, North Carolina gets its name from King Charles I of England. Carolina is derived from the Latin word Carolus, meaning Charles. But let's continue learning about young William. Eager to support their son's education, his mother hired a tutor, giving him access to more formal lessons. This opportunity propelled him through school curriculum and deepened his thirst for knowledge, shaping the foundation for his future successes. William's journey was one of unwavering faith, resilience, and a deep love for learning. As a young boy, he found joy in books, a passion nurtured by his parents on their family farm. That same focused determination would later guide him through life's challenges and triumphs, shaping him into a leader, educator, and a devoted servant of his faith. Years later, Pettiford took on a formidable challenge when he became the 4th pastor of his church. At that time, the congregation was small, just 150 members, and a burden with a debt of $500, a considerable sum in those days. Yet, with the same discipline and the drive he had fostered in his childhood, he tackled the problem head on, and within a year, the debt was gone. But he didn't stop there. Through his leadership and his tireless fundraising efforts, he helped the church raise an astounding $25,000, securing its future and strengthening its mission. His devotion to education was just as strong as his dedication to the church before his ministry. Pettiford had served as the principal of a school in Uniontown, where he was fortunate to have the support of a Mrs. Florence Billingsley and a Reverend John Dozier. Their guidance and encouragement helped him navigate the challenges of leadership. Yet, even with a strong support system, life had its share of hardships for Mr. Pettiford. Misfortune found its way into his path more than once, but he never let himself be consumed by self-pity, and instead he turned to his faith and into his studies. And in 1877, Pettiford made a life-changing decision. Realizing his true calling, he resigned as principal to fully dedicate himself to his theological studies. He enrolled at Selma University, determined to immerse himself in his faith and in his education. It was a period of transition, one marked by loss, and his wife had recently passed. With no family to anchor him, he leaned into his spiritual journey, drawing strength from prayers he heard when his mother whispering to him as a kid. But Pettiford was not a man to simply receive knowledge. He was born to share it. His relentless passion for learning soon caught the attention of the trustees at the Selma Institute. Recognizing his dedication, they appointed him as a teacher in 1878, granting him the rare opportunity to continue his theological studies while guiding the next generation of students. Pettiford's life was a testament to perseverance, faith, and to the power of education. Whether clearing church steps, or leading students, or pursuing his own studies, he never wavered in his commitment to growth and service. His journey was not without struggle, but he met every challenge with the same determination he had as a young boy learning to read, an unshakable belief that knowledge and faith could light the way. Birmingham, Alabama was founded in 1871, just a few years after the Civil War, and quickly became one of the fastest growing cities in the South. Named after his British counterpart, Birmingham, England, the city was intentionally designed as an industrial powerhouse. Nestled in the heart of Jones Valley, it sat atop rich deposits of iron ore, coal, and limestone, the three essential ingredients for steel production. This natural advantage fueled rapid development, earning Birmingham the nickname the Magic City for how it seemed to rise overnight. By 1890, Birmingham had transformed into a booming industrial hub, with steel mills, railroads, and mines driving its economy. The city skyline was a testament to progress, but beneath the prosperity lay stark racial divisions. Despite the economic surge, Birmingham remained deeply segregated, with black residents often relegated to the margins of its industrial success. Standing outside the Alabama Penny Savings Bank, one would have been greeted by a striking buff-colored brick exterior, a bold presence in the heart of Birmingham. The six-story commercial-style building was not just an architectural feat, it was a statement of black economic power. Its designer, Wallace A. Rayfield, a name of great significance. Rayfield was the second formally educated African-American architect in the United States, a true pioneer in his field. In choosing him, William Pettiford made a deliberate and powerful decision to entrust the construction of this institution to black architects and builders. Every brick, every beam, and every archway stood as a vibrant symbol of black enterprise in the city. Beyond housing the bank's offices, the building, also known as the Provident Temple, served as a social hub and business center for black professionals. Here, black entrepreneurs, lawyers, and doctors walked its halls, all within a structure that embodied the very mission of economic empowerment that Pettiford had envisioned. William was not just a leader in faith and education. He was also a prominent figure in black enterprise. As a member of the National Negro Business League, he stood among those working to uplift and empower black entrepreneurs during a transformative era in American history. So we're going to toss a quick spotlight on the NNBL, an organization that deserves its due recognition. Established by Booker T. Washington in 1900, the NNBL predated the United States Chamber of Commerce by a whopping 12 years, a well-earned humble brag. It was a pioneering force, fostering black-owned businesses and financial independence at a time when economic opportunities for blacks were scarce. Booker T. Washington deserves his own Black History Heroes episode, but for now, our focus remains on Mr. Pettiford. For historical context, Pettiford's Alabama Penny Savings Bank was likely the third or fourth black-owned and operated bank in the United States. But here's where it truly made history. It was the first black-owned bank in the entire southern United States. A groundbreaking achievement in its own right. This institution provided African Americans with access to financial services in an era when traditional banks routinely denied them opportunities. Of course, I'm always happy to be corrected on the exact ranking of black-owned banks, but one thing's for certain, Pettiford's contributions to black enterprise and financial empowerment were nothing short of monumental. One evening in Birmingham, while riding a trolley, William Pettiford noticed a black woman taking a swig of whiskey after receiving her weekly pay. As he observed her, a troubling realization settled in. Too many black workers, despite their hard work, had nowhere safe to save their money. Without a black-owned bank, many people spent their earnings quickly or fell victim to predatory lending practices that kept them trapped in financial insecurity. At the same time, Pettiford had heard whispers about a black-owned bank from Virginia, led by a man named William Brown, seeking to open a branch in Birmingham. While he respected Brown's ambition, a thought struck him. Why should an outsider come in to do what we could do ourselves? With that determination, Pettiford gathered a group of local black leaders, and together they developed a bold, unprecedented idea to create their own bank, a bank for black people run by black people. This wouldn't just be a financial institution, it would be a cornerstone of economic empowerment, a place where black families could build wealth, own businesses, and secure their futures. Now, the Alabama Penny Savings Bank was born. To ensure the young bank's success, Pettiford and his team launched a 3-month campaign filled with educational initiatives, speeches, and advertising, teaching the community the importance of saving and financial independence. Finally, on October 15th, 1890, the Alabama Penny Savings Bank officially opened its doors, with William Pettiford sitting as its first president. That day, the bank received the very first deposit of $555, a promising start to what would become a monumental institution. Although the bank wouldn't be officially incorporated until 5 years later, its early success was undeniable. Over time, Alabama Penny Savings Bank expanded beyond Birmingham, opening branches in Selma, Enslen, and Montgomery, solidifying its role as a pillar in black economic empowerment in the South. And it's worth saying that Victor Tulane and William Robinson ran their Montgomery branch. And Mr. Victor Tulane deserves his own Black History Heroes episode, but for now, let's move on. Pettiford had turned a moment of quiet reflection on the trolley into a movement, proving that self-reliance and leadership could transform an entire community's future. If you are wondering about Birmingham's banking scene before William Pettiford and the Alabama Penny Savings Bank, it is a question worth asking. After all, true greatness isn't just about success. It's about the struggles overcame along the way. While Pettiford is our focal point, understanding the financial role he stepped into adds depth to his story. So let's take a moment to examine the city's early banking landscape and his white contemporaries, starting with Charles Linn and the establishment of the First National Bank of Birmingham. Founded in 1871 by Charles Linn, a Finnish immigrant turned entrepreneur, First National Bank of Birmingham was one of the earliest financial institutions in the city. Linn's rise was a classic tale of grit, starting with a little. He slept in warehouses, saved every penny, and built his fortune. By selling eggs and chickens from Montgomery to Mobile, Alabama, recognizing the need for a strong local bank, he invested $50,000 in gold to establish First National, setting a precedent for future banking ventures in the city. By the early 20th century, George McCormick stood as the inaugural president of American Trust and Savings Bank. Founded in 1903, although his tenure was brief, McCormick collaborated with influential figures such as Henry Badham Sr., a prominent figure in Birmingham's financial landscape. Together, they fostered the bank's rapid growth, leading to subsequent mergers. Today, remnants of the bank can still be observed. You know it as Regent's Bank. In 1885, Christian Frederick Enslen, a German immigrant and successful merchant, founded the Jefferson County Savings Bank. The bank's name reflected his dedication to serving the people of Jefferson County, and under Enslen's leadership, it flourished. He attracted Birmingham's wealthiest families as customers, growing the bank from a modest few hundred clients to thousands within a year. Jefferson County Savings Bank was no longer a small institution. It was playing in the big leagues. As Christian aged, he dreamed of passing the bank to his son Eugene, hoping he would take it to even greater heights. Eugene had grand ambitions. He envisioned a headquarters worthy of the bank's stature. His vision materialized into a 27-story neoclassical skyscraper, the tallest structure in the southeastern United States at its time of completion. However, the cost of this monumental project proved disastrous. The financial strain crippled the bank, leading to his downfall. Despite the collapse, Christian never lost faith in his son, loving him unconditionally, even as Eugene bore the weight of the bank's demise. The rise and fall of Jefferson County Savings Bank remains one of Birmingham's most striking banking stories, a tale of ambition, risk, and a legacy in a city built on dreams of financial pioneers. Seated on a bench at Kelley and Ingram Park, a place destined to become legendary in the fight for civil rights, William prepared notes for his next sermon. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the park's pathways, dappling the ground with light through its towering oaks. Dressed sharply as always, he exuded the quiet dignity that had come to define him, a man of unwavering faith, purpose, and discipline. As he gathered his thoughts, a sudden gust of wind sent the slip of paper tumbling from his grasp. He watched as it danced along the ground, swirling like a leaf caught in the autumn breeze. With a swift motion, he rose to retrieve it, only to find someone else reaching for it at the same time. Their hands nearly touched. She was a striking woman with eyes that held both kindness and an unspoken strength. Dressed modestly, yet with an air of refinement, she straightened and met his gaze with a soft smile. The paper pinched between her fingers. "Looks like the wind had other plans for your sermon," she said, handing it back to him. William chuckled, accepting the note. Perhaps a reminder that even a well-prepared man is not in control of everything. She nodded knowingly, and yet faith teaches us to walk for it anyway. Something in her voice resonated with him, a depth and understanding that went beyond mere words. In that moment, standing in the quiet heart of Birmingham, William felt the gentle pull of fate. That encounter, as fleeting as it may have seemed, would mark the beginning of a new chapter in his life. The woman before him would become his second wife, a partner in faith and purpose. And just as he had rebuilt churches and guided congregations and overlooked trials, he would become once again to build something sacred. A bond rooted in love, respect, and the belief that God had brought them together. William was a steadfast advocate for greater black inclusion in the Republican politics, believing that political engagement was essential for advancing the rights and the prosperity of African Americans. In 1889, William and his wife embarked on a journey to Indianapolis, where they attended the American National Baptist Convention, a pivotal gathering of black Baptist leaders from across the country. As they sat among the attendees, the air was thick with purpose and conviction. The moment grew even more profound when Reverend William Simmons took the stage, delivering a powerful and impassioned speech about the urgent plight of African Americans fleeing racial violence in the South, in a search of new lives in the North. For Pettiford, the speech served as a reaffirmation of his lifelong commitment to uplifting his people through faith, education, and institutional leadership. But for his wife, the message struck a different, deeply personal chord. She was moved by the harrowing stories of women and children who had been uprooted from their homes, left struggling to find safety, stability, and dignity. As a devoted churchwoman, she saw the critical role that missionary work and community support could play in addressing the crisis. While the convention buzzed with conversation and purpose, another milestone in black equality was quietly unfolding in Chicago: the opening of Provident Hospital, the first non-segregated hospital in the United States. At a time when black patients were routinely denied medical care in white-run hospitals, Provident stood as a beacon of progress, offering a space where both black and white doctors could train and treat patients without discrimination. For Pettiford and his wife, this was a profound reminder that the fight for equality extended far beyond the pews of the church and the walls of the bank. It touched every facet of black life, from political representation to economic empowerment and healthcare access. Their commitment deepened, knowing that this work ahead was not just about spiritual and financial well-being, but about the securing justice and dignity, opportunity in every corner of American society. On September 19, 1902, the Venerable Booker T. Washington delivered a powerful speech at the National Convention of Negro Baptists. The chosen venue was Shiloh Baptist Church in Birmingham, a space designed to hold 3,000 attendees, a generous number, yet nowhere near enough for the thousands who clamored to witness one of the most influential voices of their time. The church overflowed beyond capacity with an estimated 4,000 people, packed into every available space, eager to hear Washington's words of wisdom and empowerment. His speech stirred emotions and ignited a deep sense of purpose in the audience. But in the following moments, his closing remarks, tragedy struck amidst the charged atmosphere. A misunderstanding unfolded, a moment of confusion that would soon turn catastrophic. Somewhere in the densely packed crowd, a commotion broke out. A voice rang out, "There's a fight." But in the chaos, many misheard the words fire. Panic surged through the crowd like a wave, and in a desperate attempt to escape what they believed would be an inferno, people pushed, shoved, and trampled over one another. Near the pulpit, a man attempted to calm the crowd, urging them to stay in place, but in the growing hysteria, his efforts only confirmed their worst fears. Chaos consumed the church, and the crush of bodies, the scramble for the exits, the night ended in an unimaginable devastation. When order was finally restored, the grim reality set in. Over 100 lives were lost in what would be known as the Shiloh Baptist Church Stampede, one of the deadliest tragedies in American history. In the wake of this natural disaster, William Pettiford emerged as a pillar of support for the grieving community. He led the relief efforts, rallying local churches to provide aid to the victims and their families. His deep ties with Reverend T. W. Walker, pastor of Shiloh Baptist Church, provided invaluable. As the two men worked tirelessly to help those affected, their partnership extended far beyond this moment of crisis. They had long collaborated on civil rights efforts and anti-Jim Crow initiatives, striving to uplift and protect Birmingham's black community. Despite the tragedy, Pettiford's commitment to service and justice shone through. In a time of sorrow, he provided not only relief, but a steadfast reminder of resilience, unity, and faith, qualities that had always defined his leadership. In the late 1890s, William Pettiford, alongside other pastors, petitioned the city of Birmingham to establish the first public high school for African Americans. This institution was envisioned as an industrial high school, a name reflecting his mission to equip black students with the skills and knowledge needed for success in both industrial trades and academic fields. And in 1939, after decades of shaping young minds, the school's longtime president, Arthur Harold Parker, retired. His impact was so profound that the institution was renamed in his honor, becoming Parker High School. Pettiford's contribution to black education extended even further, with the incorporation of Robert Brown Elliott's School of Technology as the first of its kind for black Americans in the United States. This school marked a groundbreaking advancement in vocational and technical education. William Pettiford's legacy is one that should never be overlooked. His dedication to education, economic empowerment for blacks cemented his place in American history and a true champion for black progress. William served as president of the Negro American Publishing Company, an organization closely linked, if not directly affiliated, with the Birmingham Negro American Journal, which was founded by Robert Charles Benjamin, a prominent African-American journalist, lawyer, and civil rights activist. The journal was a pioneering voice for Birmingham's black community. Though Benjamin's tenure with the publication was brief, the Birmingham Negro American Journal left a lasting legacy, shaping the city's history and amplifying black voices for generations to come. Thank you for tuning in to today's Black History Hero. I hope you learned something new and found inspiration. And don't forget to subscribe for more ear candy. Ha ha, your ears are sticky. Take care. Bye.